Hey, what's up, everyone? This is kind of going back to my dog days of summer. I'm gonna kind of do a little bit of not a recap, but a breakdown these three baits. The reason I'm gonna do this is because I had a lot of questions about them. Like I had some in-depth questions, so I'm gonna go in a little bit more deep into how I'm throwing them, how I'm rigging them, everything. And guys, listen, I know it's just a big old boring worm, right? That's all it is. Just a big old stupid worm. A big old stupid worm that has absolutely probably caught more fish than anything else ever, right? I mean, let's face it, pretty much caught the most fish of all time over the years. Maybe not the big worm, but something between a 7-inch worm and a 10-inch worm. I'm just telling you, that's I guarantee you for years that's what it does, and it still, to this day, still wins tournaments. It's just not talked about. Like, they kind of keep it hidden. They want y'all throwing all that new stuff. Just throw all that new stuff out there. Man, throw it. Throw all that brand new stuff. Sometimes it works. And them old dudes, them old guys, man, right? Oh freaking Charlie, Leroy, Harry, they out there chunking that old big worm, catching them. That's what's going on. When them boys beat you, that's what they're doing. Big worm time, guaranteed. All right, well, let's get this going, right? Let's get my old rod up here. Old reeling rod. All right, pretty simple, guys. I'll take it off. I'll even rig it up for you. How about that? Normally, I'll show y'all. This hook, okay, I'm gonna kind of move it around pretty quick. There's a reason. This hook, this is the new owner hook. I've made a video about this hook. I'm just gonna show a little bit here and there. All right, I've made a video about this hook. Owner won't let me release it yet. Viet won't let me release it. The reason is because they want to make sure they have enough of them, because when this hook comes out, guys, like this is going to a game changer. And I'm being dead serious. Like, this is one of those hooks that when we went and got it, we were like, we got to use it for the first time, and it was like, we just I don't think I've lost a fish on it. Like, it's the deal, and it's different. It's just enough different that it makes 100% sense. So that's what I got. Sorry, I can't throw it. Now, I'll give you the option, and the option is the next best thing. And guys, like, I've been throwing this for the last 5 years. So that's what's pretty cool is that owner can still come out and just tweak a hook just enough. All right, guys, I'm interrupting the video, and I normally never do this, but I'm doing this because there's something in this video that even got me thinking. Like, I brought up something that I don't think anyone's ever talked about, ever. And the reason I brought it up is it'll really make you think about the size of a worm and a bass and its thought process on eating one. But anyways, really, like, it's gonna be later on in the video, but I promise you, I guarantee you've never heard anyone bring this up ever about worms and fishing. Be looking out for it, guys. I bet you you'll know. It's one of those deals, you'll know it when you see it. All right, let's get back. 5/0 offset worm wide gap hook, right? This is, and sorry guys, it is, when I told y'all it's the dog date, like, it's freaking 100 degrees outside. That hook right there, that's what I throw, right? 99% of the time, 100% of the time I've been throwing it for the last 4 or 5 years. I have only switched this year to that hook because he asked me to try him out. And when I try something out, I don't try it out one day, I try it out a whole bunch of days, okay? And that's kind of my deal. So I've been trying it out quite a bit. I put a bobber stopper on there. That's a 1/2 ounce tungsten Strike King weight, okay? I'll tie that. Ooh, the hook got hot there in the sun. I tied just a straight up old Palomar knot, okay? Nothing special. Cannot break it. It's just not a Rayburn thing, guys. I got 25-pound shooter on. I'm going to, if I don't have it in this video, I'm gonna call up Sunline and get them to send me the chart over, and that chart's gonna explain diameters and the old school way of how they used to do it, and how line has changed over the years. Guys were like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna make 20-pound test line, and it's going to be stronger than yours. The problem is what they didn't tell you is that, yeah, they did, but they also made it a bigger diameter, right? And then everyone just started having to compete, battling. No one said anything. They just all started making 20-pound test line heavier. Problem was they made it thicker. So it really wasn't 20-pound test line. Sunline stayed on track from all them years ago. So yes, their line is a true 20-pound test. So it might not be as strong as the other ones, but it's because it's thinner. I mean, theirs might be 25 where Sunline is 20. So I throw 25. It's probably like their regular guy's 20. So I throw 20. Man, this is the reel I throw, guys. Y'all know me. I'm gonna read that worm out there just because it's the one I got. I throw 2 worms. Y'all know I will throw this old monster ribbon tail worm, and I will throw that cutter worm. And today I'm throwing a little bit of both. I've got it on my Super Duty 300. Okay, look, I'm out there bombing this thing out there in 18, 20 foot of water, trying to catch 5 to 7 pounders around stumps, around brush. I've got a big hook, got a big rod. There's a 7'3". It's kind of like Lou's Super Duty. I'm getting the new Super Duties from Lou shipped to me. I'm getting all my rods shipped to me, guys. I've been waiting on these new ones before I get any. And so if y'all hadn't noticed, I'm switching over to Lou's, and I've just been waiting on them. They've just been hard to come by. Like, they're being sold out. I mean, it's been crazy, and I kind of haven't been pressing them to get any. But when I was at ICAST, I got to put my hands on every one of them, and I ordered them. So they're coming. But that's pretty much what it's going to be. It's going to be like the Lou's Super Duty 7.3. This is an old Cara swim bait rod. That's my rig. Here's the thing. This is what I was thinking about. I told y'all, there's 2 ways to work this thing. It's dragging it. When I mean dragging it, like never letting that thing come off the bottom. Okay, I mean, as soon as you kind of just pop it a little bit sometimes, you can get bit doing that. But this time of the year, like, they don't want that action. Like, they want it dead on the bottom, moving super slow. And it's just one of those deals. They'll go and eat it. What I was going to talk to y'all a little bit about is like the thickness of a big worm. And making these videos about my bass in the aquarium, a whiskey. And I want to explain to him, like, if you watch him how he eats a shad and a crawfish, okay, he eats both of them in one bite, okay, one bite. He goes up to one, he eats that crawfish in one bite. He wants that whole thing in his mouth instantly. He doesn't want half of it in there. He wants the whole thing instantly. Same thing with that shad. He don't want it. As soon as he gets his mouth on it, if he misses and gets it sideways, it's so quick you can barely see it, how he turns around, gets it head first. When I feed earthworms in there, though, he doesn't always eat them like that. A lot of times what he'll do is he'll come up and grab this, and then like 2 more bites, eat the whole thing. And the reason is, I think I know the reason, okay? And I think sometimes that's why we feel multiple bites on a worm. And a lot of people get scared of this 10-inch worm, okay? They think it's for a really big fish. I can't tell you how many 10 inchers, 9 inchers, 8 inchers I've caught on it. I guarantee if I threw this in the tank right now, my fish would try to eat it. But here's the deal. We look at it as this big, long, we call it the big worm, right? That's what we call it. Thing is it really that big? And let me explain. That bass, my bass in that tank, when it does all that, it gets it real quick, and it stuffs it down in its mouth. And that worm isn't like this. It isn't like a gizzard shad that's this long. It crumbles up, right? So if you think about it, when you watch him eat that thing, it's only about this much of a bait. Now, guys, look at that, right? When he crumbles it all up, and he knows it's a worm, like, he eats all the worms the same. He doesn't always just inhale them. Like the bigger ones, he'll grab one piece of it and eat the rest, right? And it all crumbles up in his mouth like this, okay? Well, guys, look at this 10-inch worm. No one's really ever talks about this, right? I'm sure, has anyone ever told y'all? Like, look at that. That's small. That's a little bitty bait. That's the size of a 2.5 or even smaller, right? That's what happens when it compresses. So yes, we look at it as being this big long worm, but those fish don't look at it that way. Like as I've watched my fish, and there's so much, he doesn't look at it like that. He doesn't care how big and long it is. Once he gets the bite and gets it in his mouth, he knows that it's going to compress like that, and it's going to look like this, which is not that big of a bait. It's about the size of the shad he's eating, which are 3 or 4 inch shad. So keep that in mind. Don't be afraid of a bigger worm, okay? They don't look at it like we do. We sometimes look at it as this big long thing. They're not looking at it like that. So I just wanted to throw that out there to you. Like, it's something to think about. And so when you think about stuff like that, you're like, God, you're right, man. I could actually throw a lot bigger worm and they'd probably still eat it. Yeah, they would. I promise you, some guys are throwing a lot bigger worms than this. So keep that in mind when you're big worm fishing. We call it a big worm. It ain't that big. It really ain't. I'm just telling you, you know? So, like I said, that's it. Throw it out there, guys. Here's the deal. I could tell you where to throw it. There is not a wrong place to throw a worm. It is probably the only bait, guaranteed, is the #1 easiest bait to throw. And here's why. It never gets hung up hardly. It's the most weedless. You can throw it in 1 foot or 40 foot. It's not like a jig or a Cinco and stuff where, you know, jigs are semi-limited. They kind of get hung up around things. That thing's the easiest weedless bait there is. It catches them everywhere. You can get every single color you want. You can get different kinds, right? You can throw it around brush piles. You can throw it on ledges. You can throw it around stumps. You can throw it on boat docks and around rocks. I mean, it's literally the #1. It is by far the #1 bait there is in the country. And it catches them all year long. From January to December, it never stops catching them. So I know some guys were asking about the big worm and asking about, some guys said they hadn't even had a bite on it. Just keep throwing it. I promise you, like, once you figure it out, you'll have one always tied on. And what's cool about it is they thump that thing too. When you, like, they'll thump it, and you'll catch your personal best on it, like, no doubt. Like, for years, that's what my biggest fish ever was on, was just a big old worm. But anyways, that's my big worm, guys. I'll go out there and try to go catch some more fish on it. And I might jump in the water here in a second because it is hot. Anyways, hope I don't look too bad sweating up here. But yeah, I'm gonna go get after it. See y'all guys. Next, we might get on that crankbait, and then we might have to get on that topwater, get on that 60 dog or mega dog, see what's going on there. Anyways, see y'all guys.